communications with a prepaid call from
Philip Kemp.
an inmate at the Washington County Detention Center, Tennessee. Three-way or call waiting is not allowed and may automatically disconnect this call. This call is subject to monitoring and recording. If your call has been accepted.
What's going on, brother?
Not a whole lot, man. Just hanging out with a bunch of grown men walking in a big circle. What you up to?
I bet you're going to get a lot of laps around that circle.
What you up?
I'm just chilling. I was actually waiting for you to call. I was about to start another video on breaking down Don Ash's order. Somebody put up a bunch of case law on how, and I'm really glad they did it because I was kind of looking for stuff in that general area, but it basically states that once the order has left the judge, that they can't change it or amend it, that it's outside of their control.
Huh.
So, just to show people that, yeah, you can't do this in law. You know what I mean? Like, the order where he said that, like, on his own motion that he was going to let you out on Friday, and give you parenting time, that was a completely unlawful order, but, I didn't care because they were doing the right thing.
Right.
Until they turned around and just were like, nope, we're not going to do the right thing. Bah!
Yeah. Well, he couldn't change his original order, nor could he change the amended order.
Yeah.
He could petition for reconsideration.
Yeah, I mean, this should really just show people how lawless it's gotten. They're not even following their own process or procedures or rules.
Well, not only that, there's a recusal on file. There's a recusal and a bar entry, and I know from statute that once there's a recusal on file, according to their own statutes, they can't move forward until they answer the recusal. They have to answer the recusal before they even move forward.
Yeah, well,
by their own statute.
Yeah, but again, by their own statutes, they're supposed to let you go on habeas.
Yeah.
Because
that's an infamous crime. Being a dad's an infamous crime these days.
Right? So, hey, while I got you on the recording, man, I just wish to, because a lot of people don't really know the story of you getting arrested camping with your offspring. Like, do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, sure. According to the administrative order, it was my parenting time. And I think the Facebook Live video showed that. Even Don Ash was saying, well, isn't that what the administrative order says?
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. Because he asked Suzanne Cook, he was like, what made you think it wasn't his parenting time?
Yeah.
Like, where did you get that crazy idea from?
Yeah, and it's been a while since I had the kids overnight. And, when the kids pray, man, it breaks my heart, When we'll sit down to eat or something or go to bed, Lord, I pray that we just get to spend more time with Dad. And so when I did get them overnight, first thing I did was hook the camper up and take it down to the Davy Crockett campground. We floated the river all day, played basketball, had a good time. And then there's this app that the mother and I use, our family wizard, to communicate because she's not safe. So she started in on the app, but it doesn't notify me when there's a message, so I really don't know. But I just try to check it every now and then. She started in, where y'all at? And then she tried to call my phone, which I don't talk to her because the administrative order of protection. And then, so she called. Well, finally, I let my oldest boy answer it. And she said, where y'all at? And he said, we're camping. She said, where at? And he said, down by the river. She's like, where at exactly? And he's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to get off here now. And he hung up on her. Because he knew what she was trying to do. She was trying to find out where we were. Because he knows that she's always up to something, always trying to put Dad in jail. So he hung up on her. Well, I guess they put out an APB or a BOLO to look out for my truck. And I guess it was about, in the meantime, she was sending me messages. I didn't know it till later, but she was sending me messages, where exactly are you camping? Like, basically, like, tell me where you are so we can arrest you.
Right.
I mean, dog, this woman. But I guess it was about 10 o'clock. My son, we was getting ready to go to bed. The fire died down, and my son was just sitting outside, and he comes in. He says, Dad, there's a bunch of cops around your truck.
Yeah,
I was parked across from my camper.
I remember that because you had just given me a call getting out of the shower because we were talking about you going to court the next day because you'd gotten that paperwork.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so my boy's like, there's a bunch of cops outside. And so I was like, oh, crap. And he's like, Mom found us. So the first thing I do is throw my phone on record. I come outside. I don't answer questions. Do you have a warrant? Name and badge number. And they hee-hawed around, and finally they're like, we need to detain you for our safety. And I'm like, man, I'm not concerned about your safety. You know, you're not going to use this crap on me. Unless you got a warrant, you can kick rocks. Well, about that time they come over the radio. We got a warrant. And so it was in another county, so a Washington County officer was coming down to extradite me up into their county. And, you know, arrested me right in front of my kids. I handed my phone to my son. I said, record this if you want to. If you don't feel comfortable, don't record it. Well, he starts recording it. They got me in handcuffs. I'm just sitting there waiting for the Washington County sheriff to come down there and take me back up to their county. And finally, my son puts the phone down. He starts walking around, and he had his hands in his pocket. They're like, take your hands out of your pocket now. I'm like, good night, man. He's 11 years old, dude. He throws his hands up in the air. And, you know, in direct action by Don Ash's actions, he has conditioned my children to hate law enforcement. Because all they know is these guys in suits, these guys in uniforms, all they do is arrest my dad. All they do is harass and intimidate us. We drop off at Washington County Sheriff's Department on Don Ash's orders. Not that the mother even wanted it. We used to drop off at McDonald's. So now all my kids know is they hate cops. Direct influence of Don Ash. So anyways, they hooked me up, left my camper there, left my truck there. And she was waiting right behind them. Like, as soon as they hook me up, she swoops in and picks them up. I mean, they know exactly what their mother's doing, and that's what I don't understand. How is a woman, or even a mother, doing this to their own kids? I can't fathom it, you know, being a father, to do that to, not let alone the other spouse, but another human being to do that to somebody. But, anyways, I don't know what happened after that. I don't know if I bonded out the next day or 2 days. Or,
yeah, no, you bonded out the next day because the next day when you bonded out, you went by and took notes to your children that they used against you because you just wanted them to let them know that you were all right.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, the next day I went by their school. I was going to eat lunch with them. But it's summer school. It's weird and that COVID and all that, so they wouldn't let me eat lunch. So I just left them a note. And I don't know why the school did this. This is something I'm going to follow up on. But the school sent the note to the mother and said, is it okay if father gives children notes? And then so the mother turns around and uses it against me. And if you read the notes, it's like, I mean, I'm sure you read them. It's like, hey, just wanted to let y'all know I love you. I'm proud of you. And, you know, Dad's okay or whatever. I don't even remember what I said, but you know, it was complete innocence, and for them to take that and gaslight it and turn it around, it's absurd. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
It really is. It really is. Yep.
So I had to go back down there and get my camper. You know, everything, bicycles, everything was still down there. And once I got the camper back up home, I think I had court maybe the next day or something like that.
Yeah, because you had court on that Friday, so, I mean, yeah, I was actually, when you were just telling me the story, I was thinking, man, how did he get his camper back in the truck if they just left it there? And then I was like, oh, yeah, he bonded out the next day, so I'm sure somebody gave him a ride.
Yeah, I took my motorcycle down there and then just loaded it up. But you know, that aside from all the camper and all that, just the fact that they didn't care whatsoever. I mean, even the deputies, and I'm telling them, look, the clerk that signed the orders that are the administrative orders that are on file state that it's my right to have the children, according to the administrative court. And for a clerk to sign a warrant under oath and affirmation, they charged me with 3 felonies.
Yeah, without even checking the order. They just took Suzanne Cook's word at it. They didn't even check the order. That's why Don Ash was like, what gave you the impression it wasn't his parenting time? And the other thing that's so upsetting is that even though the judge is like, it was his parenting time, they're still not dropping the 3 felonies.
Exactly. I still got 3 felonies against me for custodial interference, which, I mean, I don't see it holding up. It can't hold up. 1, it's unlawful, and 2, even by the administrative order, I was correct.
Yeah, but the thing is, brother, that's so scary is, you know, they don't seem to be caring about any of that stuff anymore.
Right. And that's what scares me, is if there is no law, then we got pretend offenses. Well, I'm just going to put you in jail for whatever I want to pretend to, and you're going to take it.
Well, and I mean, that's what they're doing. I mean, that's what they're doing to you right now, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I went to court for, I guess it was custodial interference, and he somehow puts me in jail for the 5 civil contempts that was previous that I already bonded out of. Like, I don't even know what he's getting at.
Yeah, because he said
I don't even know what the contempts were for.
He said that he was going to revoke your bond, you know, and I mean, it's just BS, and you never appealed, and he gave you an appeal bond, which is only a civil matter thing, you know, like, you don't get an appeal bond for criminal. Like, when you do a criminal appeal, you motion the court to stay the judgment, and the court either grants your motion or your happy butt's going to be sitting in jail until they get around to it.
Yeah.
Until they get around to your appeal.
Yeah. So it's and you know, like we was talking about, the criminal contempt and the civil contempt got the same case number.
Yep. And it should be different because it's a different charge. They're charging you separately.
Oh yeah, and exactly. And if you're facing jail time, if you're facing criminal charges, if there ever was a right to have a jury, it is if you're facing criminal charges in jail time.
Yep. And the thing is that's part of the thing about habeas, especially a habeas when you're in jail for criminal contempt, because you don't get the right to face a jury. And that's why when you write a habeas, a writ of habeas, and your court issues it from the court of man to the, you know, inferior...
This call will be terminated in 2 minutes.
To the inferior court called the Supreme Court of Tennessee, you know, that's why they're just there to witness it and make sure that you're not there for a capital offense. And then they send back an order, you know, telling you to get out because of that writ. You know, you're writing a writ to them, and then they're supposed to give you a trial by jury. You know, because that's the way to protect against a tyrannical government. It's the only way to protect against a tyrannical government.
Well, when the tyrannical government oversees the tyrannical government, this is what we have.
Right? A tyrannical government.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks for talking about that story. I know we just got a little bit of time left, so...
This call will be terminated in 1 minute.
We only got 1 minute left.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother, and I'll talk to you soon, man. And for everybody listening, I appreciate the support. Keep praying for me, and pray for our government and our judiciary. You know, God's sovereign over these people, and He can change them. So, appreciate all the love. God bless y'all.
God bless you too, brother, and we'll talk to you soon, one way or another, for sure.
All right, my man. All right, later on.
All right, stay up. Y'all hear that, everybody? He's asking you to pray for the judiciary that's doing all of this to him. How much more Christian can you be?
Loud, and may automatically disconnect this call. Your call has been accepted.
Hey, what's up,
Hey,
brother?
man. Hey, I was sitting here thinking, last time I was in that administrative court, I didn't cross-examine none of the witnesses. Because I don't want to be in their administrative process.
Yeah.
I mean, I should.
No.
Wrong, lawful. Huh?
No, I wouldn't cross-examine the witnesses at all because they don't have any reason to have you in there. I mean, even Don Ash himself said you haven't hurt anybody but yourself.
Yeah.
Then what's there to talk about?
Yeah.
Why don't you quit hurting me and say that I'm hurting myself? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was sitting here thinking if I should, come up with some questions or something to cross them, because they're going to bring the therapist in and all this. I ain't never talked to this woman or man. I have no idea who it is.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what I would say with the therapist? I would say, doesn't she have a confidentiality duty to her clients to not talk about what they're saying? Like, isn't that by law? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, he's going to say they're juveniles and.
Yeah, but I would still, like, you're asking me what I would do, and of course this isn't legal advice, but in law, okay, even if he says that they're juveniles, whatever, everything she says is hearsay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, everything Suzanne says is hearsay, and so is Amanda, because they're getting it off my damn Facebook page, because I don't ever talk to none of them.
yeah, I
So
know.
it's all hearsay.
I know. Yeah, and I mean, we talked about this. Like, this is, like, they shouldn't have been able to admit my property into evidence without calling me and getting me to verify the creation of it. They can't authenticate my work.
Yeah.
And that's what they were using in the motion to freaking hold you on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, those are the points of law that I would place upon the record.
Yeah.
If it were me, and again, of course, this isn't legal advice.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask you too, did anybody work on the house while you was there? That's supposed to have some people there and finish up some.
Yeah, like, yeah, this cat came by, maybe, I think it might have been Wednesday, and he dropped off a bunch of shingles, and then some boys dropped over the next day, some brown boys, and put the shingles on the, like, shed outside. I mean, they did that pretty quick.
Okay.
So, I don't know what else.
Was there a bunch of shit laying outside the garage still?
I mean, it didn't seem too bad. I mean, of course, your trailer's parked out there.
Right, but there was some metal soffit that was supposed to go up on the eaves and shit. It was pretty long. I don't know if it was supposed to sit in there or not.
I don't know. If I were you, I'd probably talk to Sean about it. I don't remember seeing that.
Okay. Right on. Well, I just talked to Brandon for a little while. He's going to write an affidavit and mail it in for a declaration that he watched the live video and there was no due process of law, and he's going to mail it in and have it filed into the record.
Well, yeah, I mean, except for the fact that they're not going to do that. Like, he could send it, because I mean, of course, we're asking other people to do the same thing. But this is the problem. It's the same thing I was telling the clerk at the Supreme Court this afternoon. Is like, y'all are telling us to go to the courts and get some type of remedy through a lawful process. And I'm telling you, we're trying to do that and we can't find any law. You know? Like, I mean, when your guy just straight up denies us being able to file an action at all, and then you guys don't do anything about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what me and Brandon was talking about, you know, to swear an oath to defend both enemies, foreign and domestic. And what we have here today is domestic terrorism, essentially, because we're doing what we're supposed to do as far as pen and paper. Well, it ain't working. So what's next? You know, and that's what I guess all the guys are talking about, because a lot of these SF guys, man, up like Washington State and a couple down in Florida, they're pissed, man. They're ready to like take care of shit because what we're doing ain't working. We've tried all the legal and lawful means possible, and it's not working. So what's next? And all we're going by is what our forefathers told us to do. They told us if our government becomes tyrannical to overthrow it.
Yeah, well, hey,
Hey,
man, here's what I'm telling everybody, okay? You know, and this is on my word, but I'm telling everybody, be peaceful and show up on the 30th, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, because this is the last lawful means that we have is to, you know, assemble as people and freaking make sure that the law's upheld ourselves. And so, I would much rather be peaceful about it than violent. Like, I don't wish to see a war, like, outside the door, you know? I mean, you know what that's like. I don't know like you do, but your buddies know. You know what I mean? And I don't wish to see that outside my door. And so that's, you know, but I mean, honestly, it's like there's a point in time. I mean, you're right. We're doing everything lawful that we can do. We're doing the pen and the paper, but we still have a peaceful way of going about it in law that we haven't exhausted yet. It's just going to take everybody coming out and standing together.
Yeah.
So please get that message out. And I'm saying that in my videos, you know.
Yeah.
So, but that's, you know, I mean, John F. Kennedy said, those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable. You know, but we got to go every single peaceful route we can possibly go.
Well, shit, we're on the last one.
Well, but you still can't skip that step, man.
Well, that's true. That's true. I'm just saying. Damn, this is the last string holding everything up.
I mean, you know, that's why I pray that this works out, is because this is the last step, and honestly, it's like the first step that they have to have in law to get people in the court. You know, that injured party, that's the one that they're always skipping. So, you know, the last step's got to be pretty freaking important.
I'll call you tomorrow at 4. I was just sitting over there thinking about cross-examining. I'll probably just make a declaration to Dawn about, you know, about a therapist and, you know, the confidentiality and
Hearsay.
the hearsay.
Yeah.
Because all the evidence is hearsay.
Yeah. And also make sure, like, if it were me, I would also put in the same things of the declaration of, you know, you just wish to be left alone, or I just wish to be left alone. Freaking, I wish to raise the children in admonition of the Lord. I mean, everything that you said, like all the stuff that was coming out of your heart that you put down on that paper, that, you know, is your stance, is your standing, I would bring all of that stuff back up again.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I would bring that stuff up every time. Like, hey man, I'm not your slave. Freaking, I just wish to raise my kids and support them and love them, you know, and teach them how to praise God like I found them. And, you know, there's no controversy.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah. What do you think
I
about
wish
bringing
that
up the
woman has
Star
the
Chamber
kids.
hearing?
Huh?
What do you think about me bringing up this Star Chamber hearing that they had? You know,
They know
last
what
minute, tell me.
they
Get
know
out.
what they're doing. We know what they're doing. You know, and it's like, I mean, kind of like we were just talking about. This is kind of the last peaceful step. You know,
Yeah.
and people just got to come together, and we just got to take it together, and that way it can remain peaceful. You know, like, cause if all the people out here came together and made sure that law was upheld for you, you know what I mean? Then you wouldn't be afraid of law not being upheld and them just being lawless and putting
Right.
you in a box forever.
Right.
You know, so that's the answer. That's the ticket in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
I know my buddy's fingers are itching. That's for sure. I'm sick and tired of this shit.
well, I understand, man. I do. I've
Because
been trying to be the
it's
voice
much
of
easier to
reason.
do that.
Huh?
Yeah. It's much easier to go that route than it is to learn law and legal.
That's for sure. Well, I mean, the whole reason that we have the common law the way that we have it is because, you know, back in old England, freaking when they started implementing the administrative civil law too much, the people in the towns around London would start killing people, you know, start killing the judiciary because they were like, what are you doing to my property?
Yeah.
Why do you think you have this right? Because I don't think you have this right. You know? And that's basically how the common law developed out of England. And that goes to what you're saying is, you know, it's pretty easy to pick up a trigger. You know, it's pretty easy to pick up an axe.
Yeah.
And so you're right, it's difficult to learn this stuff, but when people learn that it's on their heart, you know what I mean? It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Like when you
Right.
learned
Right.
what was true on your heart, was it hard?
No, huh?
It was so much easier than trying to do some stupid codes or case law or any of that stuff, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
It was like, I just go in there and lay down the law that's on my heart because that's where God put it.
Yeah. That's right.
And there's no law higher than God's law because He's the only true sovereign in my life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that should be the whole idea. And they're supposed to respect that.
Yeah.
Supposed to. You know, it's scary when they don't.
Yeah. Now the guys, like,
This call will be terminated in 2 minutes.
for the times that the Supreme Court has issued a dismissal on a habeas, but no signature, they basically just left everybody alone and just kind of just.
Yeah, every time I've seen this before, they've left it alone. And I mean, I know a guy who would let me go public with his story.
Yeah.
Because they were messing with him bad. They were charging him just like they're kind of charging you. They were charging him with resisting arrest. You know, it wasn't like the custodial interference or whatever. But, you know, he did one of those to the Supreme Court. And, you know, they did the same thing. They answered the exact same way they answered to you. And he's never heard anything from the court since.
Huh.
Like, it just disappeared.
This call will be terminated in 1 minute.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you, man. I'll give you a call tomorrow at 4, okay?
All right, brother. I'll talk to you then.
All right.
All right, bye.
All right, later on.